Hello, Morelands. It's Miss Sell. I'd like to read a story to you today, and the story is called Time Stops for No Mouse. It's a book that I read when I was in primary school, and it's one of my favourites still. Chapter 1. An Unexpected Visit. Oh my, murmured Hermix Tantamok as he carefully examined the wristwatch. He had never seen such a beautiful watch so badly treated. The crystal was shattered. The hands were twisted like melted wax. The face was chipped and scratched so badly that the numbers were barely legible. The young mouse drummed the countertop with her sharp nails. "Please get this repaired immediately," she said in a rush. "It must keep perfect time, perfect, nothing less." Hermix removed his eyepiece and stared at his impatient new customer. Her face was set in a sharp frown, but it was such a jolly, bright face that the frown just looked out of place. She wore no makeup, just her natural fur, a dark, glossy brown. She had on a red cap with a bright green feather in its brim, a jaunty checked scarf, and a somewhat worn-looking leather flight jacket. From the depths of her shoulder bag she withdrew a small case. From that she removed a violet-tinted business card, which she presented to Hermix with a flourish. "Please send the bill to this address." Ms. Linka Paflinger, adventuress, daredevil and aviatrix, bold feats of nerve and verve on land and in the air. Reasonable rates. Number 3, Pickendordle Lane, Pinchester. Hermix placed the wristwatch carefully on the velvet tray and studied the card. "Oh, this watch is very nearly ruined, Miss Paflinger. It will take a miracle to fix it completely," he told her in his most serious voice. "Of course," he added with a note of pride, "I am accustomed to performing such miracles. When do you need it done?" Why, this afternoon. Of course. Time is money. I can't afford to be without my time for even an entire day." "Oh, my dear Miss Paflinger, I am afraid it is quite impossible that I fix it today. To begin with, there is Cladenda Nodden's grandfather clock. I shall have to make an entirely new trindle spring for it from scratch. Then there is Bratchlin Wethop's pocket watch, which I promised him a week ago. He's bent the winding stem as crooked as a turnip, and I shall have to pound it out straight, and grind it, and polish it smooth again. And then there's your watch, Miss Paflinger. What a shock to see such a beautiful watch as this in such dreadful state of disrepair. What on earth has happened?" "Occupational hazard, that's all," she said brusquely. "I'm not at liberty to say any more, but I will say this. The profession of adventuress which I follow appears to operate on whim and daring-do, but it is based almost entirely on precision timing, on careful planning, and meticulous execution. This watch that you see in its broken and battered state is as much a part of me as my own pulse. I can assure you that I took every possible precaution to avoid this disagreeable damage. I can also assure you that I need it keeping perfect time in order to return to my work. And that said, when can you have it fixed?" Hermix replaced his eyepiece and studied the watch. "Naturally, I shall have to replace the crystal." "Naturally," responded Miss Paflinger. "Of course, I shall have to replace the twisted hands," continued Hermix. "Of course," answered Miss Paflinger. "Oh, and I will undoubtedly have to resurface the face and repaint the numbers," added Hermix. "And I'll have to do that with the smallest paintbrush imaginable." "Undoubtedly," said Miss Paflinger. "And most definitely the mechanism will have to be cleaned and oiled and adjusted at the very least," he concluded. Most definitely," agreed Miss Paflinger. "Perhaps late tomorrow morning, if this is indeed an emergency." "Oh, an emergency of the most compelling sort," murmured Miss Paflinger gratefully. Hermix filled out the repair tag in his small handwriting. He tied it securely to the watch. Then he tore off the receipt and handed it to Miss Paflinger. "Tomorrow, then," he said with a small smile, "right before lunch." "Tomorrow," she repeated, and then turned to leave. At the door she turned back to him with a worried look. "It must keep perfect time," she said gravely. "Even a second can be the difference between life and death." After she left, Hermix set right to work. He took the watch over to his workbench and adjusted the light. Using fine-pointed tweezers, he removed each sliver of broken crystal. Then he took a tiny pair of pliers and he detached the delicate hands, placing them in a small glass dish. He pried off the back of the watch and examined the inside. He stopped occasionally as he worked and made notes in his notebook.